Nobody knows the true origin of Sad Satan. The first report of the game dates back to June 25th, 2015, when a YouTuber under the name Obscure Horror Corner made a YouTube series about the game. Despite the game's reputation as being one of the most horrifying and mysterious games on the internet, it's been featured in popular YouTube channels such as PewDiePie's.
This is really fucking creepy so far. This is fucking freaking me the fuck out. I really don't like playing this. Fuck, that's creepy. This is fucking...
The original game, posted by Obscure Horror Corner, features walking down monochromatic corridors while various audio samples are played and looped over each other. The audio featured in the game is extremely disturbing. It leans heavily on recordings of interviews with various murderers, such as Charles Manson.
If I started murdering people, there'd be none of you left. If I started murdering people, there'd be none of you left. If I started murdering people, there'd be none of you left.
The game also depends heavily on distorted audio of such interviews, or musical clips, such as I Love Beijing Tiananmen, which is played in reverse at the beginning of the game. Reverse clips from the Swedish Rhapsody number station can also be heard while walking the hallways. While the player controls their character through the narrow hallways, images will begin popping up on the screen, taking up the entire vision of the player, which prevents them from progressing any further until the image closes on its own a few seconds later. Most of the images reference some form of child abuse, especially people indicted in Operation U-Tree, such as images of Jimmy Savile and Rolf Harris, who were both convicted on charges of sexual assault targeted towards children and teenagers. Other images revolve around crime and include people convicted or accused of murder, such as Japanese murderer Tsutomu Miyazaki, as well as photographs of the Lady Justice statues and political figures such as former UK Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher. Images of accident victims and murder victims are also shown, including the aftermath of a person struck by a truck and a beheading. The only other characters in the game are children who simply stand in one place and do not move or interact with the player at all. In the final video posted by Obscure Horror Corner, one of those children does begin to follow the player, causing contact damage. Since the player has no means of self-defense or any ability to heal damage, the player will inevitably die at this point in the game. In an interview with Kotaku, the channel's owner claims to have downloaded the game from a Tor hidden service after receiving a tip from an anonymous subscriber. The subscriber in turn claims to have found a link on a deep web forum from a user only known as ZK. It's still not known who ZK is, or even if ZK even exists. Following the interview with Kotaku, the subreddit r/sad_satan was formed on Reddit to discuss the game. Redditors quickly realised the onion address provided by Obscure Horror Corner was invalid and could never have even existed in the first place, as onion addresses do not typically contain the number 9. A new version of the game was posted to 4chan by someone claiming to be ZK, claiming that Obscure Horror Corner had not been shown their viewers the true Sad Satan. Members of the 4chan community reluctantly downloaded the version of the game and attempted to play it. Some users complained that their computers began running sluggishly, and even a few reported that the computers became completely unresponsive while trying to run the game. A few other users even reported that their computer would not turn on anymore after running this version of the game. One Reddit user attempted to play the game from a live USB instead of their computer's main hard drive. Later, when they tried to boot into their computer as normal, the computer failed to load. Some people also reported that they started feeling ill after playing the game. This version, dubbed the clone by most of the r/sad_satan community, contained images of violent gore and explicit images of children, some of which were accessible right from the title screen. This resulted in yet another version of the game where the graphic content was removed. This is often called the clean version and was made by Redditors. Sad Satan was the last game covered by Obscure Horror Corner, and since then the YouTube channel was abandoned for unknown reasons. There has been speculation that the game was in fact created by the owner of Obscure Horror Corner in an effort to increase viewer subscription count, and that the deep web story was a complete fabrication to give the whole account more intrigue. Some also speculate that the clone posted to 4chan was also created by Obscure Horror Corner in an attempt to give the tale more credibility. It is also possible that Sad Satan was not created by the owner of Obscure Horror Corner, and that in truth the owner of the channel decided to go into hiding because of all the controversy after the malware versions of Sad Satan were released. In 2013, 2 years prior to Obscure Horror Corner's video series, a music video entitled Sad Satan was uploaded by the user Scarebeard. The owner of the channel was named Gary Greaves, and he's recently in jail because of downloading explicit images of children on his phone. The music does seem to have a similar vibe to the game, however, it's unclear whether the user claims any connection to the game, and many expect it to be just a coincidence. It's unlikely that we'll ever find out the identity of the person that created Sad Satan unless they come forward, but this will not stop people from trying.
Let's go.